Hey everyone, today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, most baffling human experiences out there, the crush. We're going to break down the science of what is actually happening inside your brain when that one person completely takes over your world. So, let's get right into it.
I mean, we've all been there, right? Your ability to focus just shatters, your heart starts doing backflips, and all of a sudden, this one person is living rent-free in your head. It seriously feels like your brain has been taken over by some kind of outside force. Well, as it turns out, that's not actually that far from the truth.
To really get a handle on this, we're going to follow the story of Maya. Now, Maya is a neuroscience student, so you'd think she'd be on top of this. She knows exactly what should be happening in her brain. But, well, knowing the science and actually living through it are two very, very different things, especially when her crush, Leo, is pretty much bypassing all her logic circuits. Okay, so it all starts with that first moment. Not even a conversation, not even a touch, just a look, a smile across a crowded room, or in Maya's case, a boring lecture hall. And bam, this is the initial jolt.
The second Leo smiles at her, Maya's body just goes into complete overdrive. I mean, look at these physical symptoms. Her heart rate leaps from a calm 60 beats per minute to 95. Her palms get all sweaty. She can feel her face getting hot, and her pupils get wider. It's this massive, totally involuntary reaction. But why? What's going on?
Well, this is where things get wild. That intense reaction, it is the exact same fight-or-flight response that our ancient ancestors would have had if they stumbled upon a saber-toothed tiger. Her brain isn't really distinguishing between a major threat and a huge opportunity. It's just reacting to a really powerful stimulus.
And the chemical culprit for all this chaos is epinephrine, which you probably know better as adrenaline. Basically, Maya's hypothalamus, which is kind of like the brain's command center, shouts an order to her adrenal glands, and they just flood her system with the stuff. It's what prepares her body for action, even if that action is just trying to act cool in front of her crush.
But you know, a crush is so much more than just a racing heart. It's an obsession, right? So to try and make sense of why she can't focus on anything else, Maya goes to her professor, Dr. Thorne, for a quick lesson in the chemistry of craving.
So Dr. Thorne puts Maya's whole experience into this really cool scientific framework from the biological anthropologist Helen Fisher. She found that romantic love can be broken down into 3 stages. And Maya? Oh yeah, she is squarely in stage 2, attraction. This is the crush phase, and it is driven by a very, very specific cocktail of brain chemicals. Now the main player here is a tiny little part of the brain called the Ventral Tegmental Area, or the VTA. The best way to think about the VTA is as the brain's own personal reward factory. So when Maya sees Leo, her VTA just lights up like a Christmas tree and starts pumping out a really powerful neurochemical, dopamine.
And dopamine is unbelievably powerful. It's not just about feeling good. It's about motivation. It's about wanting something. Maya's brain has basically tagged Leo as a massive reward, and that activates the very same circuitry that goes wild when someone uses cocaine or wins the lottery. This is why a crush feels less like a simple emotion and more like an intense, gotta-have-it craving.
Okay, so that explains the high, right? The craving, the motivation to see them again, but it doesn't quite explain the obsession. Why does this one person take up so much mental real estate? Well, the answer is kind of startling.
Just take a look at this comparison for a second. Researchers discovered that the brain chemistry of someone who's in the early, intense phase of a crush is almost identical to the brain chemistry of someone with obsessive-compulsive disorder. And the reason for this comes down to one specific chemical, serotonin.
So while your dopamine levels are shooting through the roof, your serotonin levels actually take a nosedive. And low serotonin is directly linked to those obsessive, intrusive thoughts. From an evolutionary standpoint, this makes perfect sense. It's a clever biological trick that forces you to stop being distracted by everything else and focus all your energy on a single, high-potential partner. Your brain is literally wiring you to obsess.
So let's jump back to our story. We're in the library now. Maya and Leo are meeting up to study, and the whole interaction starts to move from just simple attraction to something a little bit deeper. The focus shifts from her internal chemistry to the external cues flying between them.
Being a scientist, Maya can't help but just observe the data. And the data is looking good. She sees Leo give that quick little eyebrow flash, which is a universal subconscious sign of welcome. She notices his pupils are dilated. And as they talk, they start to unconsciously mirror each other's posture and gestures. These are all these tiny, subtle signals that they're building a real connection.
And then comes this pivotal moment. It's not some big dramatic thing in a movie. It's just a simple, fleeting touch as he reaches for a book. His arm brushes against hers. But in that tiny instant of physical contact, a whole new chemical system kicks into gear.
And that new chemical is oxytocin. Now, if dopamine is the frantic chemical of craving, oxytocin is the calming chemical of connection. People call it the cuddle hormone. It's released through physical touch, and it creates feelings of trust and calm and deep attachment. That one little touch starts to shift the entire neurochemical landscape away from that frantic attraction and toward long-term bonding.
So, as the night ends, Leo asks Maya out on a date. The reward system gets its payoff, and Maya starts reflecting on the absolute cascade of chemical events that just unfolded inside her own brain.
So, to recap, this is the full chemical cocktail we've just seen in action. You've got epinephrine for that initial racing heart. You've got dopamine for the intense motivation and craving, low serotonin for the obsessive thoughts, norepinephrine, which helps sear all these details into vivid memory, and finally, that little hint of oxytocin, which points the way toward a deeper attachment.
But here's the big question. Does understanding all the science behind it take the romance out of the whole thing? Maya doesn't think so, and she has this perfect analogy for it. Knowing how a piano works, the hammers, the strings, all the tension, that doesn't make a Beethoven sonata any less beautiful. If anything, it makes you appreciate the artistry of the music even more.
And that right there is the ultimate takeaway. What Maya experienced was a predictable series of chemical reactions, something honed over millions of years of evolution. It was purely biological. And yet, for anyone who's ever been through it, it also feels undeniably like magic. And maybe that's the real magic, that something so scientific can create a feeling so incredibly profound.
Please like and subscribe.